Hi there! Are you here again? I'm glad you're ready to watch 15 more outstanding cases of humans saving animals' lives. Just in a few seconds, you'll have a chance to observe the real hero's behavior and, for sure, it will not leave you cold. This poor dog was hiding in a gutter from human eyes. The poor fellow had a hole in his head, and the larva multiplied inside. He was in terrible pain. The guys at Animal Aid Unlimited had to calm the tormented dog to cleanse the wound. He was named KC, which stands for King of Cuteness. Fortunately, KC quickly recovered, and after 2 weeks, his wound was looking much better. A bushfire in California separated this mountain lion cub from its mother so early. He's literally 3 to 4 weeks old, and he has already experienced such a huge loss. Rescuers found the baby in serious condition. He had a singed mustache and severe soft tissue injuries in his paws. Fortunately, after the x-ray, the doctors were able to make sure that the baby had no fractures or internal lung injuries. The little mountain lion cub is treated with pain relievers, antibiotics, and fluids, and fed with milk through a syringe. Unfortunately, it will not be possible for the baby to be released, since he will not be able to fend for himself. But fortunately, he will be settled in such a beautiful place as the Oakland Zoo and will be cared for regularly. The fox got entangled in the football net, but Simon and Lori from Wildlife Aid came to his aid. The hind right leg of the animal was quite tangled, and apparently, when the fox tried to get out of the trap, it got even more entangled. The rescuer began to cut the net. Having freed the fox, he examined the baby for damage. The fox was completely intact. The rescuer released the frightened fox in the hope of not seeing him again, especially under these circumstances. The person who saw this baby had no doubts and immediately called Hope for paws. Without hesitation, rescuers went to the aid of this little possum. These animals are very useful for the ecosystem and play a very important role. They help fight pests such as rats, cockroaches, ticks, and the like. The baby was taken to Animal Hospital of South Bay. There he was examined by Dr. Marchand. The doctor said that the baby is absolutely healthy. This made the rescuers very happy. Friends from the Pacific Wildlife Project helped the children and sheltered this child until he grew up and released into the wild. Only 6 weeks old, and this little one has already gone through so much pain. She had a serious eye infection, and Dr. Hannah had no choice but to remove those eyes. It was a very dangerous operation. Moreover, the baby weighed less than a pound. The girl survived the night and went on to recover. She was given the name Peach. However, she has another infection that makes it difficult to breathe freely. But now Peach is doing well and has even received her first vaccine for kittens. Peach turned out to be a very playful and loving kitten. Nick Evans is not afraid of anything. It's not surprising because he's a snake rescuer. Nick is on call to Westville. The black mamba climbed into the garage roof. The rescuer knew that this is a very dangerous snake and therefore did not risk it more than he had to. To get the poisonous snake, Nick had to climb onto the roof. And not just climb, but even disassemble it a little. He carefully removed all the interfering tiles and grabbed the dangerous snake with a special hook. The snake was frightened and wiggled, but the brave rescuer deftly grabbed the black mamba with his hand right behind the snake's head. The snake turned out to be really huge. It's good that people turn to Nick for help. Bobby learned firsthand what human violence is. The poor dog was treated horribly. He was hit very hard on the head. He had a crack on his head. The head was so swollen that the dog could not breathe freely. The eyes were swollen and the neck was bleeding. Poor Bobby didn't understand why he was treated so horrifically. He could not believe that all this had happened to him. The guy was brought to the veterinary clinic. He was constantly vomiting. The next morning, the poor fellow underwent surgery. For some time, Bobby remained in the clinic under supervision. A month later, Bobby recovered and forgot about this terrible situation. Now Bobby has found true happiness in his new home. The owner of the house did not expect to see a wild bird in his house, but with great effort, the man drove the bird through the front door. To prevent the bird from flying in again, the owner closed the ventilation hole. He called in specialists from Gates Wildlife Control. When the rescuer arrived, he reached into the air vent and saw an unexpected picture. There was a starling nest. The birds broke their way into the air duct of the dryer, and then they made a nest for their kids under the chimney. You need to be careful and regularly clean the pipes of the dryers to avoid fire and unwanted guests. A man rescued 2 cute abandoned squirrels from a bamboo stump. Such babies need care and should not be left alone. There would have been no chance to survive if this kind man hadn't decided to take care of them. Therefore, the man took them to his home and adopted these sweet babies. Now these 2 little cuties have a second chance to live a happy squirrel life. Unfortunately, abandoned elephant calves like this one are quite common in Sri Lanka. This baby was spotted in the forest by the Wildlife Service. The little elephant calf was exhausted and had several wounds on his body. The wound near the tail was infected and festering. The baby needed the doctor's help until other wounds began to fester too. But the baby elephant was too small to understand this, and therefore strongly resisted and did not want to go anywhere. But people persistently led the elephant to the car. With the help of ropes tied on the calf's feet, they guided the baby step by step. Periodically, the elephant was watered to make it easier for him. Loading and unloading such a large animal is always difficult. Not without effort, the little elephant was delivered to the doctor. Here he will be given not only the necessary treatment, but also care. The baby has a huge wound on the abdomen, and therefore the treatment began with it. The wound was well cleaned and decontaminated with povidone iodine solution. They were also sprayed with an antibiotic to prevent infection. Well, now the baby elephant needs to eat well in order to move on to the next phase of treatment and recovery. Stunfisk was suffering greatly after coming across the wheels of a car. The poor creature got serious injury to his front leg. His paw gradually healed, but it was disfigured, and every time Stunfisk stepped on it, the wound tore again. It was a terrible pain. It's amazing how he coped with it all this time until the people from the Soy Dog Foundation rescued him. The doctor amputated the hopeless paw. Now Stunfisk won't have to suffer anymore. The unlucky deer got stuck out on the ice in the drift pile. Fortunately, the locals saw him. They threw a rope over to the deer and pulled the poor fellow out of the ice. The men dragged the deer to the grass and carefully removed the rope from its antlers. The joyful deer immediately rushed towards the native forest. Pepper was an ordinary street dog, but she had severe scabies. Because of the scabies, the dog even lost its fur, and the face of the unfortunate girl was all in scabs. But one of the passers-by noticed her and called the hotline at Animal Aid Unlimited. Rescuers took the dog to their center. It took about 4 weeks to rid Pepper of the disease. Complex treatment was organized for her. IV fluids and medicine, as well as twice a week, Pepper took a medicated bath. It's amazing how Pepper has transformed at the end of the treatment. She has got new wool and is completely healthy now. An incredible rescue took place in the small town of Andes, New York. A dog named Meadow ran away from its owners when moving to a new house. His owners and local residents had already lost hope of finding him. The search for the golden retriever lasted more than a week, but there was not a single lead. Fortunately, on the 10th day, local videographer Brian Afflixio saw the story of the missing dog and decided to try to help with the search. Brian launched his drone high into the sky and saw Meadow. He couldn't believe his luck. The dog spent all these days without food and water, so she easily made contact. She was very calm and wanted to get home quickly. Brian first took Meadow to the man who organized the big search of the dog, and from there they contacted the owners and finally met for reunification. 2 little raccoons fell into a ditch and got stuck in a bog, but they were lucky and they were found by a kind person. The man carefully went down to the ditch and took out one of the raccoons. The second kid was able to get out on his own and ran after his brother. The kids did not run far from their savior. The man spread a blanket for them on the stones, and then he wrapped the raccoons in it after the kids got used to the man. At home, the man fed the kids. In the beginning, he gave them milk from a bottle. The raccoons were very hungry and ate with appetite. Then the man decided to try giving the babies milk from bulls. The kids turned out to be grown up enough and independent, so they were able to eat from the bowl. Their appetite was enviable. Apparently, they spent a long time in the ditch. They were very lucky to be noticed. After feeding the kids, he released them back to their native and wild nature. We hope the kids will be more careful from now on. This is the end of our stories for today. These people are doing a very important job, you know. And of course, they need your support. So leave your likes, donations, and subscribe to their channels to help them. Animals are just a part of a great number of amazing things in life, and you can see how marvelous and surprising life can be if watching the videos on the Amazing Things channel. Don't miss a chance to learn some new and unpredictable things. See you!